In the late of 60s or the beginning of 70s, the first arcade video game has been made, titled Space War. This leads a massive milestone of arcade games from the late 70s till 80s with iconic hit game called Pong. Now, video games has grew quickly, more realistic, unique interface, and enthusiastic to play. But how actually games are made? According to Wikipedia, video game first made in the 50s using simple concept and system, such as Bertie the Brain, which produced in 1950 and only run a game titled Tic-Tac-Toe. In the beginning of 70s, the popularity of video game gets started with first ever arcade game has been made, titled Space War. The emergence of arcade games continues to increase until many companies such as Nintendo, Namco, Atari, and many other companies release arcade games which was very popular at the time, such as Asteroids, Galaxian, etc. However, this success did not last long. Arcade games have been abandoned after the video game crash in 1983, which caused by poor quality of arcade game at that time. After this crisis, video games began to become popular again, not in arcades, but video games on computers and consoles. In the beginning 1990, video games are starting to shift to a 3D view and unique interface. At this time, the game industry began to growing rapidly, especially with new innovations in the form of mobile games and virtual reality, or better known as VR. The development of the metaverse and the rapidly growing game engine have made the gaming industry in high demand and eagerly awaited by enthusiasts. There are many types of games such as shooters game, or most likely known as FPS game, action adventure, puzzle game, role-playing or RPG, etc. But there are also people who classify games based on their production budget, such as AAA games or indie games. AAA games are games that are produced with a large budget and are also worked on by professionals. Meanwhile, indie games are usually started by new developers or individuals. Even so, the budget does not affect the quality of the game. There are many good indie games that are worth playing. According to CG Spectrum, video game development divided in 3 stages: pre-production, production, and post-production. According to Wikipedia, pre-production is the period when the developer starts planning the game. Starting from the concept, design, story, or prototype. After passing through this stage, the developer enters the production phase where assets and source code are produced by involving many people, such as developers, artists, sound engineers, and many more. After the game is successfully produced, the game will experience a milestone period where the game will be played for the first time starting from alpha, beta, and full game release. Even though the game is full release, the game needs to continue to be maintained, or often called post-production, where at this stage the programmer fixes the bugs experienced or reported by players. In making a game that is so complicated, many parties are involved, especially AAA games companies such as producers, publishers, and development teams consisting of programmers, artists, designers, sound engineers, and testers. Regardless of how many games we have played, it turns out that a game requires a complicated process and a lot of budget. Hopefully, this video can add insight to all of us.